not dead.
Yeah. He says he's not dead.
Yes, he is. I'm not.
He isn't?
Well, he will be soon. He's very ill. I'm getting better.
No, you're not. You'll be stone dead in a moment. Oh.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Nerds of the Round Table on Blacklist Universe. Today with me, my friend I've known for way too long.
Long time.
Dennis
It's weird.
Caco.
It's weird.
Yeah,
I was thinking
Dennis-
about today, how long it's been.
Yeah, what, 96, 95?
I met you in La Costa, right? In your,
Yeah, I think that was 96.
Yeah.
Dang,
feels
dude.
later than that. But
I'm getting the grade. We're getting the grades.
I know. But yeah, good to be here. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Dennis, I was introduced to him by my buddy Nia Lamb, and came over to my house in La Costa, did some hanging out, probably
Yep.
did some barbecue. I don't remember.
Now we're just hanging out, and I don't know if this is the time or place to say it, but I always give Mike the credit every time. He's one of the people that I met that it's your fault that I went into this industry.
Sorry.
Because when I was that young, as a teenager, my mom did not want me to do comic books. So not in a bad way, just you can do better, right? You just do better than that. And anyways, when I ended up meeting Mike,
doing that.
and either way, Mike was one of the first people that I met that was making a living doing that. And so when I saw that, I was like, why is that not possible for me? So anyways, it's your fault that I'm still broke. After all these years, I could have been a PhD
works,
or
man.
something.
That's comics. That's because we have kids now, and
Yeah.
you can do comics if you're single and living in an apartment.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
yeah, you start
Those
having a
days.
mortgage. Yeah, good luck with that. But so, and Dennis, I credit Dennis. I was mentioning this on my other show on the other channel. That when I was putting together my business plan for doing a comic book company, the reason crowdfunding was a part of that business plan was this man right here, because he came up to me at a con a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
And he was telling me all this great stuff he was doing on Kickstarter, and I was looking at it, and I'm like,
You're a
there's
smart
some
man.
money- There's some money to be made.
You're a smart
So,
man.
I integrated it
listen.
into my business plan before I got into this whole YouTube thing, and part of the business plan with crowdfunding was influencer marketing, and so, but becoming the influencer, I guess that works too, but that doesn't
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that's everything you do, right?
Right.
So,
No.
Dennis, as sort of a primer before we get started, if you can't tell, and it's in the chat, it's in the description. Max Boost is Dennis's book. It's on Kickstarter right now.
Yep.
So if you want to go check that out, we will get into that in a bit. But I wanted to Dennis to sort of give us a little primer on not just comics crowdfunding, but crowdfunding in general. What are the do's and don'ts that you want to make sure you take care of if you're going to endeavor to do one of these things?
Yeah, so just in basic, if anybody's watching that's still trying to figure out what is crowdfunding exactly, it's just basically, instead of stocking your garage with 10,000 units or comics that you invest in and hope to sell, you literally just take pre-orders and then make what you sell. Makes a lot more sense, right? It's that simple, basically in concept, right? And so so some of the do's and the don'ts, let's see. Wow, I've got a huge list of don'ts, I guess.
We have an hour.
Yeah, no. A lot of people ask me the question, why do crowdfunding in the first place versus traditional business model, basically, right? And the internet has changed everything for business and how to launch a product. You could see it, retail's dying. That's kind of obvious, but one of the things I did want to say, Mike, and tell me if I'm going too far off, Mike. I just want to make sure I'm giving you what you're asking for. But there used to be a time back in the day that in order to ever make your, let's say comic book published, you'd have to go through a buyer. Someone at a publishing company would have to like your stuff. If they didn't like your stuff, or the top 10 publishers didn't like your stuff, whatever, you pretty much would never exist. There was no internet.
I mean, unless you wanted to just self-publish, and then that's a whole different entire business you have to develop and learn. Yeah,
but what I'm saying is old business model, and I'm talking about back when we first met. When there was no internet, there's no way to really get in front of people. It was newspapers, ads, magazine ads. That was the only kind of way to get in front of people.
Well, yeah, at that time, the only way to get, I mean, dude, if you're self-publishing, you had to pay for, you had to get into Diamond, right? Unless you wanted to call every comic book store in the country and deliver stuff directly to them. But that was the hustle back then, man. If you had your own book, even when I did Immortal 2, dude, I was doing Immortal 2. I was calling all these retailers. I was sending them ash cans. You know, it's like, because Image was publishing for me, right? But their marketing consisted of one page or a half a page ad in previews.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And you're speaking more on the comic book side, which I have more. I have less experience on publishing comics, believe it or not. Most of it is actually apparel. So I've literally sold. I started a little clothing company way back when I met Mike. That was my bread and butter. That's how I stayed alive.
Yeah, the car shirt.
It was through
car
comics.
shirt,
Yeah,
right?
I did a lot of car racing shirts.
Yeah.
I was in the whole tuner culture thing, which is why Max Boost exists, which is basically a comic book based on the whole entire import tuner culture. Before Fast and the Furious, we launched this originally in 1998. And so back then, like when I tell people, when you want to launch a clothing brand today, for example, is very different than it was when we were around together back then.
Yeah, now you can just upload graphics to Redbubble or
you're done. Printful and all those guys, and you have unlimited essentially capacity for scalability.
Yeah.
Back then you had to go to, if you wanted to be something, you had to go to Macy's, you had to go to a department store, you had to go to someone, and that buyer either said yes or no. If that buyer said no, and if all the buyers said no, you did not exist. There was no internet, there was no way to get out there. It was very, very difficult to have your own clothing brand. It would be very grassroots and very slow to grow. So that's the old model. And then now we've got Kickstarter. So Kickstarter is really kind of simple. Obviously, the internet was required, and now you get to go online, put your product up on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And if people love it enough, they're going to essentially fund your production with pre-orders. And it's that simple. And instead of doing the old way where, like I said, you put 10,000 T-shirts in your garage and hope you sell them to somebody, you sell 10,000 T-shirts first, and then take the money, and then you print them, and then you send them. So that's the basics of crowdfunding. It makes logical sense. There's a limited amount of time that you get to do that. Most of ours range between 30 to 60 days. And right now on Max Boost, we're at 37,000 with 32 days to go. So this is 37,000 in the first week for Max, which is great. 421 backers.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. And so this is by the way, I was here from the volume 1. Thank you for inviting me back. We were here for volume 1. Volume 1 in total did 40,000 in 30 something days. So doing 37 in 7 days is quite a bit better.
Well,
so,
and I'm sure
trying to catch up to you, Mike. I'm trying to catch
find that on your other campaigns is that you tend to be front loaded after your first campaign. You're heavily front loaded, and then
front and back loaded.
Yeah, but more. I mean, when you have returning customers, they tend to. Sure. Yeah. But you get that last day. You always get that last weekend boost.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh! Could you just close the door and stay out? What is the problem? Trying to have a conversation here.
Oh man, in the spaceship.
That's right. Welcome. Yeah, I have my new background. It's the bridge of
So you're talking about the front loaded, right? And so for the do's and don'ts for everybody in the Kickstarter world, one of the biggest things and most important things you want to have is to have a campaign. Those are all the rewards for the campaign. If you click on,
where's all the pictures?
Go to the where your cursor was. Go to the top. It says campaign on the left side. Almost there. Left. There you go.
Ah, okay.
So so there's Max Boost. So one of the things that you're just already touching on right now, Mike, why we're so front loaded is because number one of the biggest things that's very important for a successful campaign. Actually, I'll call this number 2. There's a different number 1. So number 2, I would say you want to make sure that you have essentially a pre-launch list of people that want to buy your product before you ever launch that Kickstarter or Indiegogo.
That was your key thing to me. It's like you don't want to launch a Kickstarter unless you have a 4,000 person mailing list.
Yeah, like a mailing list, or you got people that are ready to go. People, you know, there's a lot of reasons why, but at the end of the day, you want people ready for day one on that Kickstarter, ready to go. And essentially, they've said it before. It sounds really weird to say this, but you want to basically achieve your goal for your Kickstarter. Let's say it's $5,000. You want to do it, and you want to achieve it in actually the first 24 to 48 hours. And success breeds success generally in life, but it does work in Kickstarter. There's a few reasons, and so number one, make sure, and I can get into that, but number one, make sure you've got a lot of people on an email waiting list that you've been creating relationships with, you know, through email or through, like, for example, Facebook groups is a big one for us. That's one of the things I think a lot of people seem to ignore. But Facebook groups for us work really well on multiple Kickstarters that we've done with different products. And so that's huge, I think. And a lot of people ignore that or don't know that. So we get a lot of conversion through that, and a lot of people that are just, you know, and I love meeting the fans in that kind of background private space. So we do have a Max Boost private group, for example, that I've been in and out of for like the last, I think it's been up for over maybe almost a year and so. But you create relationships in there. Yeah. And those hundreds, we only have about, I think 600 people in there. It's not a lot, but a lot of them back the project. We have 471 backers. Yeah. And I know a lot of them are from there, and we stay in communication there. So anyways, that was number two. I'm going to go back up to number.
All right. Before you do, how do you directly, I know you spend money on advertising. Do you advertise people to go and join the Facebook group?
No, not necessarily the Facebook group, but to other things, like you can advertise to something called a landing page. And a landing page, you guys have seen it. If you've ever seen a project that's, we're going to be launching in 7 days, get yourself on a mailing list. So you're the first to know, and you get 50% off instead of 30% off or whatnot. You've seen those all over the place. That's essentially what's happening. Those guys are doing the same thing that I'm telling you right now for part two. We don't run ads to the Facebook group. I've always left that completely organic. So people join Facebook groups. If they do join in the email, we do mention that we do have a group if they'd like to have conversations. Okay. So some of your biggest fans, like Mike, a lot of people might know you, for example, from other comics that you've done in the past and haven't seen you in years.
Game of Thrones.
Exactly. And they might not have seen you in years, and then they see your email that you're launching this awesome, Lone Star comic or whatnot, and they're like, I don't know what this is, but I would love to connect with Mike at the same time. Mike says, hey, Lone Star's not launching, episode whatever until like, a month and a half from now. But in the meantime, we can chat it up in a Facebook group. Would you, so people jump into there. And a lot of our comic book guys have there's a lot of Facebook group, comic book, related Facebook groups. So it's a great place to have conversation. I could go deeper into that and why it works.
And you can live stream there too.
You can live stream. You can do a lot of things. But what it really does is it gives you a safe space. When you use a private group, and I recommend it being private, because people get to talk. Because in regular Facebook, like on your Facebook, your regular fan page that's completely public, we've seen a huge decrease in the interactions that are there versus what we would get inside, like, say, for example, private group. I love our private group. I love our fans that are there. They contribute. They send pictures of their own, in our particular case, their own cars, the projects that they're working on. They ask questions, all that stuff. And people don't normally do that anymore on Facebook. Essentially in Facebook groups, what I tell people is Facebook groups now, and why it's grown so much in Facebook, just look at the numbers of how huge the groups became over the last 2 years, is essentially Facebook groups is the original promise that Facebook can no longer deliver, which was interaction, real meaningful interaction, real community, and some level of safety in having conversation. When you're out there putting a comment out in the public, right? One, your mom can see it, your dad can see it, or people can just troll you pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
In a private group, you can actually maintain a better community, and so that community
I need to do that because I'm on Discord. I just started Discord up about 3 weeks ago, and I don't know, we've got 150 people on there or something like that. But that's fun, and it's monitored, so I can kick people out who I don't have any interest in being in there. But I know I have a couple of Facebook fan pages, so I could just I don't know. You have to tell me how to best move that over to a private chat or whatever.
Yeah, it's not too hard. You just basically put it up and you start letting people know in whatever the easiest way is for you to know. And right now you've got a massive list for Lone Star, for example. So, with Lone Star and all the other comics you're doing, basically put up a fan page, email all those people, tell them, hey, let's go meet. Let's have a chat inside Facebook instead of, not saying I'm doing YouTube too. So it's not in instead of, but with,
Right.
doing the YouTube live. So, because right now I'm hoping some of our fans are actually watching this right now. From our Max Boost Facebook group. So, and if you are, that'd be cool. If you can leave a comment, if you're from the Max Boost group, that'd be really rad.
Yeah, and everybody do like and share it to Facebook or to Reddit or to wherever. I don't know if you have a Reddit page for your stuff, or
and I'm hoping, like for example, I'm hoping my fans are enjoying this because I'm actually talking a little bit more on the background of the Kickstarter. That they obviously have supported. So there's number 2 right there is like essentially get that list of people that are, get people really excited and ready to back the project on day one. Tell them straight out, day one is the day to do it. It helps with your algorithms in either Indiegogo or Kickstarter and gives you more chances of success throughout the entire campaign. And without going too deep into it, there are algorithms in Kickstarter and Indiegogo that you'll want to be aware of. That when you do hit certain numbers or we don't know the secret, but we just know the more successful you are, the better it is. And you get listed in, Kickstarter directory and Indiegogo directory based on the success you're having. And a lot of times when you have a really successful project in the first day, it's going to sit on the top 10 first page of search for a little bit. And that makes a difference. I
noticed that Facebook, they kind of, they limit who can see your stuff, but if you put the videos up, if you're doing live streams and stuff, that you always get the announcement. You always get the they push they have an agenda with live, right? So they've wanted to push that so hard, especially when it first came out. So anytime you did a live, everybody got to know. So it made everybody want to do a live. Yeah,
because everything else
that most people still don't.
Yeah, and exactly. It's that's so. Yeah, number 2 is definitely have that customer base ready to and willing and able to buy your product. Not only that, and hopefully support it, and meaning do some other things that you can do past that. So that's just one, but a very important one. And because one of the most painful things, I guess I'll end it with this. One of the most painful things is to launch and have no response.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I can tell you what not to do, so let's not.
we all can. And then and then my I don't know, you want me to move to number 1 or
April E says I'm in the Max Boost Facebook private group.
Of course. And she is also my business partner, which is a great segue.
Hey April.
And I think April. So there's a great segue. One of the things I was going to say was for viewers that don't know this, and even my own fans don't know this. So I guess quote unquote my day job is I own a couple of other companies that have basically been launched in Kickstarter. And one of the things that I did with April that just showed up was we launched a product called The Undress, which is a dress that doubles as a mobile changing room. Yes, it's a kooky product. The big one is on keep going down, the one right here with the blue dress on the left side. Click on that one. That was an original project we launched in 2014. I thought we were going to make $22,000. We hoped we could. We didn't. That was a pie in the sky total. And we ended up making, you can probably see that,
$615,663
in Kickstarter. And then that was the day that everything
because of this image right here.
This crazy dress. Yeah, dude. That was a money thumbnail, I guess. And when we launched this thing, it changed our lives forever. We ended up becoming Kickstarter's #1 women's fashion product of all time at the time, as well as winning the Shark Tank Your Life contest on Good Morning America as judged by Damon John. So that was really cool. And that changed our lives. And since then, we've been repeating Kickstarters. I don't know if you want to show this, Mike, but on my site, launchhard.com, you could see, and you can see how many different iterations of the undress we just did right there. We made over close to 3 million of dress sales alone on Kickstarter. And then this is some of the other projects that I've done. This is my little, I guess, consultation company landing page. So there's the Undress. We launched Minitio headphones. We ended up backing that up with 402,000 in 34 days. Done stuff like help support with skateboard stuff. This is our other project called The Undercover. We did 100,000. We launched the women's underwear brand with 87,000 in the first 59 days. Then when we launched other versions, just like Lone Star is launching other, issues. Yeah. We're doing the Undress version 2. We did 250. Guys on our team, they did a bomber barrel, which is a duffel bag. Nothing really crazy about it, but $430,000 in duffel bag sales in 60 days. And it just kind of goes on. And you could see the Undress version 3. We ended up doing 500 something thousand with the version 3 for the Undress version 3. And then just kind of keep going. There's a bunch of stuff.
You know what we need to do, you and me?
What?
Freaking art backpack.
I already have. Yeah, I'd do it with you. Let's do something. Let's figure it out.
Let's do it.
Dude, just an FYI, I've got all the craziest backpack sourcing factories ever. The best. You should see what I've got.
We'll talk.
But yeah, we can talk definitely. We got Hydrate, 627,000 raised in that's the world's first smart water bottle when we launched that thing. It was crazy.
Wow.
627,000. So anyways, there's an example. I forgot to say that, I guess, from the beginning. And this is what the segue is, and why I said this was I think at the bottom, and this is not a pitch for me, okay? Number one is hire an expert. So I said hire an expert because this was a site that we put up for people that keep that want to hire consulting. I'm not saying I'm not trying to pitch myself at all. My point was in number one, and I think I told you this with you, Mike, and tell me if you'd agree. Mine actual number one, usually number two, what I just shared is what most people tell you to do is the most important thing. To me, I have a different number one. And my different number one is this. You want whatever, if you can, any way possible, the most important thing is to get someone on your team that has done a successful Kickstarter before or Indiegogo. Yeah. That's what you want. That is the number one thing. Do that and you will solve so many of your problems, headaches, and you'll answer so many questions because it seems simple, but it isn't. Yeah. And so when you get these people on board, unless you're smart like Mike and you just find a way to pull it off on day one, most people can't do it. Don't figure that out right away. So you're going to want some expert on your team or someone that's done it before, even if they failed, at least like somebody that knows what's going on. But of course, someone that just succeeded.
I was actually thinking that as a business, someone who understands all of this stuff, and because I've had people coming to me and asking me to do their Kickstarter or their crowdfunding for them. Yeah, and I'm like, I ain't got time for that. But he's like, I'll give you 50%. I'm like, 50%. Yeah, that would be a publisher. So I'd be a Kickstarter or a Indiegogo or whatever publisher of other people's stuff. But I'm like, I'm not going to do that. But that is a vacuum that someone is going to take advantage of, at some point. And I think that would be a pretty smart business play for somebody, but not me.
No, when we've thought about that as well. We've looked into it because there's so many people that are trying to do that and trying to not have to deal with it, like the Kickstarter part of it. It's expensive. I mean, if you want to hire experts to do it, you're going to be spending way more money than you're probably going to want to raise. And it's just the truth of it because it's hard. You don't just raise 600,000 or like you 100,000 plus on just nothing. Like, I mean, you are an anomaly, though, I will tell you. But for most people, they're not going to achieve that level of success unless they really know what they're doing. And even when I did the Undress Kickstarter, I have years and years of entrepreneurial background. I'm an SBA Young Entrepreneur of the Year. So made millions in other things, doing other brands and products. So even that, and it was still hard. So, and you've been around the block a few times yourself, publishing your own stuff or working in the game, being part of the comic book game and understanding how to get into it. And bottom line is you found a way to make a living doing it when most people can't. So you got a little, have a little bit more know-how than most people that are just going to try to launch their comic on Kickstarter. So, and it was a lot of positive circumstance in when I was going into this and whom I was going into it with. So, but we're talking about what people need to do who are just your average. Hey, I've got something, whether it's a toy, whether it's a, bikini, whether it's whatever. How do I, what's the next step and what do I want to avoid? Okay. Yeah. So the other, so one, getting someone on the team, right, will solve so many of your issues. Like I said, and then I guess the next thing that something to avoid, make sure that like one thing that will kill your campaign before it ever starts is trying to launch a product that is forbidden by that platform. You would
Yeah.
be very surprised.
Yeah.
Like
You were
foods,
telling me
weapons, CBD, things like that. So don't get all excited until you know for sure you can.
You told me about your friend who had his Kickstarter up to $100,000, and then he made his project available on his own website. And
That's number 4.
Oh, all right. Well,
that's the death.
Get ahead of the
How
game.
to kill your project before you ever start. That's my list that I have somewhere that I should be sharing to the world. But yeah. So
What did I put?
So yeah, number 3, I think that's an easy one. You can't just launch anything. And then you also, when you do pick your thing that you're launching, go do some research, find out, try to manage your expectations a bit, and look into it, because there are numbers and data. And I know if you're a comic book guy right now, you're probably not into data and trying to really do a lot of research, but just do it for like 15 minutes, and you'll see. It's very easy in Kickstarter to find out which projects, how much comics are really making, what's the average. Even right now at 37,000, I'm not a typical campaign for comic books. I think comic books raise somewhere, closer to the range of 2,000 to 10,000, and so just, again, manage the expectation. So yeah, number 3, and make sure whatever you're doing is going to be okay. I don't know if they police subject matter. But I'm actually, yeah,
Kickstarter
they do. Yeah. So you got to be careful with that. So I don't know what
I had a campaign kicked.
Oh.
Because it was approved, and then I uploaded some of the pages, and it had my hero beating the snot out of a bunch of Hispanic gang members, and they're like, you can't beat up on minorities on. I'm like, it's MS-13.
Kickstarter or Indiegogo? That's interesting.
Kickstarter.
That's weird. That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah,
okay.
They're pretty far left in their approach to that sort of thing.
Which you love, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. But,
we're not going to go there. We're not going there.
They have a ton of conservative creators on there, so it's not like they're just blacklisting conservative. But apparently they thought you can't have
violence
beating up on MS-13.
Okay, got it. And if someone was going to do it, it's going to be you. So that's okay.
That is correct.
All right. So there you go. So there's a great example. So there's number 3. Your project's dead before it started, and he probably, like for example, Mike finds out in the middle of his campaign launching, which really sucks. You want to find out way before you ever do it. That's irreparable damage or time loss that you can never get back. So don't make that mistake. Number 4 is exactly what he just said. Do not, under any circumstances, in particular Kickstarter. I think Indiegogo, I think they're missing. I don't think they're as policing it. They say it, but I think they're no policing.
Indiegogo's policing is terrible. You can even report stuff and they won't care.
Yeah. Okay. So I have observed that. So that's fine. But what is not supposed to happen is Kickstarter, for example, will not allow you to launch a product that you have already been selling somewhere else. So you've got to change the product, get a new product, something, but you cannot change something you just sold on Amazon or on your regular web store, or even on your Facebook page, marketplace, or anything before it goes on Kickstarter. Kickstarter wants it first. So essentially, brand new projects, brand new products. They do not want regurgitated products or anything like that. And so how can I launch 4 different undresses, for example? Well, because each one of those is honestly very different from each other. And so we make improvements. Lone Star 1 is not Lone Star 2, is not Lone Star 3, is not Lone Star 4. That's okay.
But you can even launch different covers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, dude, because I knew that story from you before. I was really scared because my friend Billy Tucci was running the exact same campaign on Kickstarter and on Indiegogo at the same time. And I'm like, I told him your story, and I'm like, dude, I really hope they don't notice. And they didn't.
No, They're
didn't
lucky.
notice.
He's really lucky.
And there's somebody
Did he
else I
change the
know that's
cover?
doing it. Someone else is doing it right now. I don't want to say their
Yeah,
name.
don't say that. Because obviously 1 million people is going to watch this, and someone from
Oh,
Kickstarter.
yeah.
No, yeah. So wow, that's amazing. He got away with that because
Yeah.
Kickstarter's legit. They do look.
They police.
Yeah, they police. So
Maybe they're just getting so big now that they don't have, because they are getting pretty big.
yeah, everything's growing. Nothing
Yeah.
that's getting smaller. It's a $1 billion industry. So.
Bigger it is, the harder it is to police.
Yeah, and so yeah, so yeah, there you go. That's a huge one. Is don't do that. And my example was some of these guys had a product 3 days or 2 days before the finish of the product, and it was literally at, I think it was $300-something thousand
Ooh.
in Kickstarter. 3 days, they posted the item on their online store, not even for sale yet, just posted it, and they stopped the project right before the end of the project, which means no money. All those sales gone.
Oh.
So not only did you lose $300,000 in sales, you lost all of the marketing dollars you spent to gather all those people that to pledge $300,000. So if they spent, I don't know, I'll make up a number, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, you can't get that back.
Did he
And
still have
so-
access to the backer list?
No, because
Oh
in
my-
Kickstarter, you do not get your backer list until it is funded and complete.
Oh man.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I told them. There is a strategy in which you can grab email addresses, like we're doing with Max Boost, for example.
Yeah.
You want to do that. It's a good thing for both you and the backer. In case something like this goes wrong, you have contact with them. But Kickstarter does not give you contact until it is a complete and finished, successful project, and then you get access to information, which I think is smart. I think that's the right thing to do, because people can make fake projects just to grab email lists, and you don't want that. And so, but yeah, there is ways, and that's another thing to do. This is not a number 4 or 5 or what not to do, but maybe it is.
Well,
Let's just make it number 5.
Before we wait, we're doing what to do's or what not to do's. How many?
What not to do's right now? I'm rolling on what not to do's.
Okay,
Which
well,
kind of is,
let's
which
take
is
a
kind of
commercial
leads
break.
to what to do. It kind of leads to what to do. So here comes
Okay,
number 5.
let's finish the what nots to do.
Trademark that. What's not to do?
What's not to do? It's just one word. It's just that's there's no spaces in there. Let's take a commercial. Let's finish that, and then we'll take a commercial break, and you will tell us why everyone needs to back Max Boost.
All right. See ya. In a minute.
No, I mean that would be the commercial.
Oh, I'm the commercial.
You're the
Am I
commercial.
seriously the commercial? That was odd. That was super awkward right there. Hold on, let me take a step
Well, that's
back.
what I do. That's
All right.
I don't know if you've seen my channel. You want to just
Yeah,
play
no,
this?
no.
Hold on, I'd have
So,
to.
no, I've seen. You could kind of play that, sure. Actually, let me talk about it first before playing it, because I think we'll just get stuck in it. Max Boost, just so that everybody knows. I need the visual.
Well, I need to share my entire screen in order to get the audio, so I needed it.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah.
I should know this, because you're the one who told me about StreamYard. I've been using it. It's easy.
There it is. Isn't it? It's like so easy.
Yeah, it's super easy. It's super easy. Not the best, but it's easy.
Yeah. All right, go for it.
So here you go. So Max Boost, appreciate you guys. I know Max Boost is not your traditional comic. So we didn't have Max Boost in comic books in the comic book stores. Max Boost actually ran in a comic a magazine called Import Tuner Magazine. If you scroll down a little bit,
It's just
Mike, can you scroll or not?
Right?
Yeah, maxboost.com. Sorry, yeah, maxboost.com.
I'm
But if you-
doing this too. Bing.
Yeah, if you could scroll down, it kind of just says it in the first few things. So there's the actual book itself, right? 160 something pages, collectible, book sleeve, the whole entire thing, hardcover. This thing's a collectible. These are classic issues that I started. Max Boost started in 1998 and went to 2006. And it is pretty much the heart and soul of the import tuner racing culture that you guys have probably seen in Fast and the Furious 1. All wrapped up into a little comic. It was the first tuner comic in the United States. And I started that because I was a street racer, and I'm still into cars and all of that. And then, by the way, Mike has a really cool Integra GSR that's going to be worth a lot of money in a few years.
I need a new distributor cable for it. It's just sitting under my tree right now.
It's a Honda, not a problem. So, so Max Boost is the cover of Volume 2. This is the second. We split it up into 8 total years. So Volume 1, when I was here last time on his show, was the first 4 years. This time it's years, basically 5 through 8. Another, like I said, 160 something pages of comics. And then coming down, if you scroll down a little bit, it was originally, and you can see right there in the middle of the screen, it was originally in this magazine called Import Tuner Magazine, which I actually helped design and create. And it ran as a monthly issue, kind of like, I don't know, Spy versus Spies, or like Radical Rick, if you ever read BMX Plus for all the older guys in here. It was a monthly feature that was 2 to 4 pages every month, and it was a continuous storyline. And this is the first time with Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Max Boost that we ever put all of the issues together for this. And if you're not a car guy, supposedly it's still awesome and funny to read, because it is comedy, action comedy, essentially. Yeah. Cars are the theme, but a lot of people that aren't into cars have said that they have a lot of fun reading about it. And I'll tell you a little bit of a story when you scroll down. But if you keep going down, this started in 1998. You got Volume 1 and Volume 2. You can actually get Volume 1 in this Kickstarter for a limited time if you missed that, and you can also get Volume 2, of course, right? And then going down, I think a little bit more. Yeah, so we're back. And the books are beautiful. They're very collectible. I got one with me, the slipcase, the whole thing. We're making these I know all you guys are collectors out there. We're making these collectible. This is literally the only times we're going to make these available. These aren't going to be available for regular retail. They're all autographed, book plate, signed, and numbered, and sealed. So we're doing that whole kind of thing. And then scrolling down some more. It's got all of it, like the paper, everything is. We just kind of went all the way.
Hardcover, dust cover, collectible sleeves, signed and numbered, premium paper, and individually sealed.
Like Mike said last time, he's like, "You don't like making money, do you?" It's an expensive book to make, but the fans loved it, and that's why they came back for the second volume. And I think there's a little more going down. And so the story, and then you also get freebies here. You get a downloadable coloring book, and you get to watch one of the films I executive produced called The Last Race. I don't know if you've ever seen that film, Mike. But we launched that around the time of Fast and the Furious, the first Fast and the Furious. And then keep going. You also get the name in the book as well. And you also have an option of doing something where you can actually have your photo in the book, which I think is really cool. We call it the Superfan section.
It's like a yearbook.
It's rad, dude.
It's funny, dude. I was just thinking about that, like how like if you had I'm just gonna give it out because I'm not gonna do it, but there's different movements like Fandom Menace and whatnot, and it would just be so funny if like they put together like a yearbook as a crowdfund, like all different events and stuff that happen throughout the year, and obviously you have a billion pictures of them because they're live streaming all the time, and that would be something that geeks and gamers or whatever could do. But that just totally reminded, because it looks like right there.
Yeah. There's your yearbook. Yeah, no, it's fun. I think one of the coolest things about, I didn't realize it from Volume 1 when we did it, how much I'd love it, is because then you get to see, like, these are literally your fans, right? These are the guys that want to be in the book and support it. And, for anyone that's doing a Kickstarter, this is something you can either offer or sell a spot, for example, to just help boost your Kickstarter. And a lot of people love this stuff. But honestly, from my perspective, when I first got the books with all our fans in it, it was just really cool, man. It was just a very heart-touching moment. It was one of my favorite parts of the book, was that super fan section, seeing the faces. And of course, all the names. It's really cool. People really love that. So dig it. So if you do a Kickstarter, whether you do a film, whether you do a comic book, a lot of times people would love recognition in the product you have, if you could possibly do it. And for stuff like this, it doesn't cost too much.
I didn't put pictures, but I put all the names of my first, the first 30 days backers on my first book.
There you go. Yeah. So exactly. Yeah. You could use it in a lot of great ways. So the story, I think, of Max is very simple. You got Max and Otto right there. They dream of street supremacy one day in the world of Motorville. And basically they're teenagers in high school. They don't have, Lynn Day Drury's bopped up. Max Boost is the ultimate campaign. On time, top quality, highly recommended. What? Thank you, Lindia.
Lindy. It's Lindy.
Lindy. Oh, Drury. Yeah, no, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for backing the campaign. And I love that you love it. At the end of the day, that's what matters. And yes, we did everything we can to try to have the best campaign ever for all of our fans. So Max and Otto, all they want is they drive a beater car. That's my original 1981 Toyota Celica that I actually drove in high school that could barely hit 70, 75 miles per hour. And so I immortalized it in Max Boost. And so they live in a world called Motorville.
How did you not have a Datsun 510?
Oh, dude, that would have been awesome.
Dude, there's one here in the neighborhood. There's a freaking 510 in my neighborhood.
That would have been awesome. I mean, now you're gonna send me sideways a little bit, but so everybody's got power except for them, and they're just dreaming to one day be able to beat this guy. His name is Todd. Todd is the guy you love to hate. He is the town jock. He seems to get everything. He's got the V8 convertible Mustang, and he's always got the girls, right? And he's always been picking on Todd. Todd has always been picking on Max and Otto for years, and so
always Todd, dude.
Always shows up, and then the next day, I think go scrolling down. So this is what's funny is Max is supposed to get an Integra Type R for his birthday. Comes home, and his mom says, "Your new car is waiting in the driveway." Comes home. Otto removes his blindfold because, of course, Max is a little bit extra, and he wanted to be blindfolded to see his brand new car in the driveway. He ends up becoming not an Integra Type R, which had a chance of potentially giving that Mustang a run for its money. Instead, he gets the Civic DX.
The DX?
Like 75 horsepower. You got good mileage, though.
Had the black bumper.
I don't know. Something. No, but anyways, it's the Midori greens, right? And so the Midori green Civic, which I used to think now is very hard and rare to get that color, by the way.
Yeah.
That is sought after so much.
Really?
But yeah, when we first did it, we were making fun of it. And a lot of people, long story short, after 8 years of Max Boost and people loving Max and this car, a lot of people bought Midori green Civics because of Max Boost, which is crazy. Yeah. So he ends up with this car, but unfortunately the race is still on with Todd, and he's supposed to race him this weekend. So, and as you kind of fast forward through all this without too many spoilers, he's got to figure out how to make the Max Boost car fast. And through experiences in Motorville and meeting guys like a guy named Papa Wheelie, who owns Papa Wheelie's Performance Pagoda, who is also a Kung Fu master, ends up, he's right there at the bottom of the screen on the left. He's got his own tuning shop, and he helps Max with his Civic to tune it up so that it can beat Todd. And a whole bunch of other crazy, characters and everything else. It's just basically an underdog story, with cars in it, and Max is the kind of overconfident, zealous, try to win at all costs kind of guy, and Otto's his sidekick and his voice of reason and calm and collected. And between those two, they end up in this world of Motorville, not only trying to get their street supremacy title just to beat Todd, but also now what people don't know is Motorville is threatened by an outside, evil something that's coming from some otherworldly place that's threatening Motorville's very existence. And it's and Todd and so the guys and the kids from Motorville, basically Max and Otto and the gang, end up becoming unlikely heroes to save the world, right? So that's kind of it. And there's Papa Wheelie. He is a legit Kung Fu master and will also fix your car. And if you don't pay him on time, he will give you the Wu-Tang whack. So
what form of Kung Fu?
I don't know. Let's ask Jason Rodriguez.
Have you talked to him lately?
Yeah, man. We're going to work on a project in a second here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're actually going to do, so Max Boost, for anybody who watches racing, the GT World Challenge, which is the racing series around the world. But in the United States, it's the same GT World Challenge with the Ferraris, the Bentleys, the Lamborghinis, the stuff on TV that races in the Long Beach Grand Prix. We're doing a collaboration with them over the next probably 8 weeks, where we're going to do week-to-week contests. We're going to be drawing Max Boost.
What has Jason been doing?
Huh? Jason?
Now you've got me squirreled out. What has Jason been doing? I haven't even heard of anything he's done in.
I don't know, actually. What a friend of mine. Ask you, hey, how are you doing? How are you doing? No, I'm like, bro, can you just ink this stuff for me? No. So Jason, we're talking about Jason Rodriguez. He is one of my original studio guys. He actually
he was He was in Sealam Studios with me and Ben Herrera and
There you go.
the boys way back. in the day.
Yes. See, and so Jason did the very first issue of Max Boost, and I think the first 2 issues, I believe, but the first one and the cover of Importuna magazine inked them for me. But yeah, so I have no idea what he's up to right now.
You still live here?
I think so, because I'm telling you, yeah, he should. We haven't been hanging out or anything in person on Facebook. So, that's it. But I'll let him know how much you care.
All right, man.
They'll hit you up.
Tell him I said I.
So anyway, so there you go. In Max Boost, if you want all 8 years of Max Boost, the whole entire Classics series, it comes in Volume 1 and Volume 2. And yeah, so there you go. And here's our Kickstarter.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have to do this.
Uh-oh.
Do it. Put
So
that coffee down.
And get to Kickstarter.
there you go.
Otherwise, you are.
Yeah. And, exactly. No, but seriously, guys, thank you so much.
You tell them they're stupid if they don't buy your book. So.
No, and Mike, I appreciate you guys and your fans for backing us. Last time, I think there's a bunch of you guys that just backed it on the Volume 1 without knowing anything about car racing or anything like that. I appreciate you guys. It was like $1,000, I think, of you guys backing it, something like that.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, I really appreciate you, man. And so
Jalapeno milk says it's something a cross between Bless This Mess and Funky Pops.
there you go.
All right.
Bless this mess. That's cool.
Yeah, that was a failure. Let's not talk about that.
Well, yeah, okay. No, it's cool though. I love Bless This Mess.
Yeah, I didn't. There was this much planning went into that. It was
That's-
literally I was on a show that morning and I was just talking about it. And I was like, "What do you think about me doing a Kickstarter?" And people on the show were like, "Yeah, we'll back it." And I'm like, "Okay," and I put it up, and I was like, "Yeah, that was probably not well planned."
How many emails did you have for that?
Completely unplanned. None.
There you go. Another great example, kids, of number 2.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, so there you go. There's Max Boost. It's 8 years of work that I put in, and what's funny is a lot of people were tripping out on this. I don't know why I'm thinking about this right now. When I was doing Max Boost for 8 years in Importuna magazine, I did not make $1 doing it. So I did it as a passion, just because I was passionate about it, and I got to keep my rights to it, which is really, really at the end of the day most important to me. And so Max Boost is mine. And just another long story short is the reason why I stopped doing this 13 years ago and Max Boost is now back is because we had this crazy thing where Max Boost was blowing up. We actually had a toy deal with Playmates Toys, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle company. We were showing at Toy Fair with them. What do you call it? Target and Walmart wanted the toys. We have, if you look in our campaign, you'll see some of the demo the toys that we've done in the past. It's towards the bottom of the page if you wanted to see it. Anyways, we were about to get all these licensing deals completed, and what ended up happening was all we needed to do was get a Saturday morning cartoon, and that's it. Just all we had to do was get a Saturday morning cartoon. What was crazy was we actually got to the point where Reggie Hudlin helped pitch the show. Reggie Hudlin's the creator of Boondocks and executive producer Django Unchained and all this other stuff. And anyways, when he pitched it, Warner Brothers loved it. We were negotiating contracts. And then right at the very end, regime change at Warner Brothers tanked our project 100%. And so we lost the deal. I lost all my money. All the time and effort put into it, and that was one of the hardest times of my life. I've had a few, but those are definitely one of the hardest ones, and I just mentally had to take a break. So I was supposed to take a break for like a month to 2 months away from the comic in the magazine, and I ended up taking 13 years off. So now I'm back. Never decided not. It's always bothered me that I never came back, and it also is interesting that there's so many fans are still there and wanting me to come back, and you'll see kind of an example of the fans going, dude, come back. And just, the amount of camaraderie with the fans, people backing the project, and then also being in live events like car shows and stuff like that, and meeting fans in person. It's awesome. It's been so great. And so anyways, we're back in a big way. And yes, our goal is to be Netflix show, toys, the whole entire thing. We're going all the way. So I'm not quitting this time until it's done.
Awesome.
But we start here at volume 2 on a Kickstarter, hanging out with Mike.
All right, let me do something real quick here. Dadgummit. All right. All right, so what's the next do or don't?
Dude, do I even remember? Where were we at? We were on number 5, right? What was I supposed to say?
We're on number 5.
Do you remember what I was alluding to? I don't know. Mike didn't tell me we're going to do it like this, so I would have had a list ready, but that's okay.
No. We don't plan things here on my channel.
Okay, all right. So I'll make up something. So number 5 was... No. Okay, so another one that you can literally like kill yourself before your project is not necessarily started, but before it ever ends, is not factoring the financial aspect of your campaign correctly. So there's things you can miss. Number 1, a lot of times when people produce projects on Kickstarter, it's probably because they've never been business owners before, or they've probably never created a product before. So if you have never created a product before, I don't care if it sounds simple. Oh, that's kind of crazy. Dang, you're quick. That's cool. Sorry, I'm all tripping out. I've never seen it do an overlay like that. If you've never produced or made a product before, please consult, get someone on your team or something that'll tell you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And to plan accordingly. So some of the things that happen, I'll give you an example. People don't plan. Let's say you're like, oh, my product's going to cost me $1, right? How much should you sell it for? Well, a lot of people will tell you $2. That is incorrect. You will probably go broke very fast. And so what you don't want to end up happening is finding out that if you didn't do all your numbers correctly, you got to figure out 1, the product and making it itself, making it. 2, the cost you got to have some buffer in it because there's going to be costs that you're not expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're not multi-talented, you're eventually going to need somebody to help you, and those costs, those ding you. $20 here, $100 there, $200 there, $300 there. 3, so pricing of the product, you don't know how much eventually. Just imagine this, and most people can't when you don't have someone on your team that knows what they're doing. You get into your project, you launch, you go gangbusters in 2 days, you have 28 days left and nothing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do for 28 days? Guess what's eventually going to cross your mind? Buying ads, paying for advertising, marketing. That's not the point where you want to realize you should probably add price money into your project for marketing.
Right.
It's going to be very weird to do it then. You need to pre-plan that and get ahead of the curve on that. So again, going through all the pricing model, I think Kickstarter got to a point where people were like, "Oh my God, I sold so many of them, but I have literally zero chance of of producing and shipping all these orders because I did not charge enough."
Mm-hmm.
And so you can imagine literally losing money every single sale. It's true. It happens. People have done it. So just be careful with that. Kickstarter has a calculator. Yeah. So I like to tell people the closer you can get to about 7 to 10x cost, you should do it. You're like, what? That's crazy. 7 to 10x cost.
Bro, I come from a world where I was making prints for 50 cents and selling for $20. So
there you go. So this guy knows what he's doing. 40x.
Yeah.
Right. But it's
that's my comfort zone.
Yeah, but it's also not all bread and butter, is it? It's like, oh, that sounds amazing. You should be a bazillionaire right now. No, you were smart, but you have to do it. You have to do it.
The money
you sold them for $1, how much
go around
have at the end
conventions and stuff, and paying for booths and hotels and all. Yeah, it's like
yeah. The money lost you sitting there instead of drawing or trying a no cover, whatever. You got to calculate all those costs. So anyways, so that's a way to kill yourself before you ever started. And the worst thing you could do is actually have a successful campaign in which you undercharged every single project. Now you're going to be shipping all that stuff and pulling more money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
To do it.
And I did.
Can you imagine that?
I don't know. I mean, you are selling books now, so you've gone through that and you understand like the cost of sending stuff to Europe and Australia.
My
It's
book is heavy.
hell yeah, dude. Your book.
I have a 3-pound book, dude.
Looking at it, that thing's gonna cost probably $70 to send to Australia.
Dude, Australia's the best. Oh my God. This is a lost leader. To all the Aussies out there. That's why I tell them, I'm like, please God, like, you know, let this be offset. But it's also almost insulting where you're like, hi, you gonna buy a $45 book. Good day, mate. We're gonna charge you $70 to send it. I
know.
It's just bad, but it's true. And
Yeah.
I'm actually undercharging our shipping just so people don't get shocked. Like, because the shipping is so expensive on these books. Mine's is 3 pounds. I mean, at least you had a comic book, right? That wasn't that heavy, but it's still expensive. Shipping's crazy.
Yeah, no, I've had packages I've had to send to Australia that were over $100. Just to ship. It's like, what?
And they appreciated that, right? They like that.
I certainly hope they did, because I didn't charge them 100. But it was the thing. It's like, oh, they ordered, you know, because they're comics, right? But they're ordering stacks of stuff, and so I'm ending up with a box that weighs like 13 pounds, and I'm shipping it to Australia. So they paid, even though I don't, I charge less for shipping than it costs to certain countries, just because they have the sticker shock.
Exactly.
If that person buys 2 things, then it's like, oh, good. I'm not losing money on this.
Pretty much. That's a good point too. What you can do for international sales is tell people they have to buy, you know, this pledge level or higher, because I'm literally losing money on your project on sending you something. So that's another way. And in Kickstarter, for example, you can designate where some items will ship and will not ship. So there you go. Number 1, don't lose money on every single sale. That really gets not so fun.
That gets pricey quick. Yeah.
Painful.
It's crazy, man. When you're sitting there and you're packing up and shipping, and you're like, oh man, I just sent out 200 packages and it cost me this much money. And then like you go to do overseas shipping, and you're like, oh, I sent out 10 packages and it cost me the same as those 200.
And it's so all you guys do your research. Here's another thing. I do have another one. So we're talking about finances right now. A couple of things: shipping and production costs. Okay, so when you normally do your Kickstarter, you start to do your Kickstarter, you plan your Kickstarter, you do your numbers, you launch your you make your Kickstarter, you launch your Kickstarter. By the time you get your money, which is 15 days after the end of your Kickstarter, I just basically said 6 months of time right there, right? For most people, generally it takes about 6 months for you to put together your Kickstarter and plan it if you do a big one, right? And so call it 3 or 4 or 5 months. Make sure that the quotes that you're getting from your factories are valid by the time your Kickstarter is still over. Because a lot of times it's 30-day or 90-day. And, you know, you've got everything from international dollar values changing. You got everything from they feel like, oh, wait a second, this guy did a $500,000 Kickstarter. We noticed that. We should just pay them a little bit more.
Let's add to that shipping. Because
and the shipping cost.
I sold and I shipped my first book, the U.S. Postal Service upped their shipping prices like 10%.
Exactly, and that 10% sucks. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it does. It is a lot. So you got a 10%, 15% increase in shipping and handling, and they just start getting nickel and dimed, and it's real. And you're going to be a year into your project, and that's all the money you're going to make, right? So it couldn't happen. So there you go. And so there's another one.
Looks rad right now with the map.
This is dope. I wish I knew how to do this. I love that. And this is a little animation that we did. You know him. I actually did this with Joe Phillips. And,
really?
And yeah, dude.
Nice.
They did this. They pulled this off. We were actually this is an animation we did together. That we were supposed to do with Formula Drift, which Formula Drift is aired actually on TV. It's a drifting competition, the premier drifting competition in the United States. And so we did this video. There's actually 1.5 minutes of this. And it's the first animation we've done in a really long time. We have not released it yet, but it basically goes over, it's supposed to be shown with Formula Drift before the beginning of their events to explain the rules of Formula Drift. So anyways, yeah, they put that together, and they still haven't used it yet. So we're gonna figure out if they could use it this year. But yeah, that's the beginning of that, and it was Max Boost sponsored essentially.
All right. We are 30 seconds away from when I'm supposed to end the show. Was there anything else on your list we wanted to hit, or did we get everything?
I'm sure there's more, but no, we're good. I mean, we can always come back. We can always talk about more, but those are really big ones, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you've taught entire courses on this stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, you can easily go 3 hours on talking about Kickstarter. And so,
all right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely have you back and do a part 2 and part 3 if we need to.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. It was fun.
Yeah.
And
Right,
so
thank you for
let
being
me know
here.
what we need. Thank you guys. Thank you to everybody out there, all the Blacklist fans. I appreciate you guys for checking us out and checking Max Boost out.
Everybody back at Back Mac. Why can't I talk today? Back Max. Man, that is a tongue twister. Back Max Boost. Back Max. Back Max.
Back Max Boost.
Buy Max Boost. And where can people follow you, brother?
Just check us out on Instagram at Max Boost Comic, and then we have a YouTube. You can find us just Max Boost. Search us; it's easy. And then maxboost.com pretty much has everything there.
Rock and roll. Don't forget to subscribe here if you're new. Subscribe there if you're new from here to there. I'm gonna wrap this up
and hit the bell.
Hit the bell for notifications. God bless you guys, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, peace out.
Yeah.